At exactly 3:42 on a moonless night in the Gulf of Oman, three Iranian Kilo-class diesel-electric submarines went to ultra-quiet mode and turned their bows toward a target 47 nautical miles distant, the USS S. Truman, 100,000 tons of American nuclear-powered supremacy, sailing with a carrier strike group worth more than Iran's entire defense budget. No active sonar pings, no communications, just three submarines built in the 1990s attempting to achieve what Cold War Soviet admirals never managed, getting a firing solution on an American supercarrier. The Iranian crews believed darkness and silence would give them the edge. They had no idea they were being tracked by systems that make darkness irrelevant and silence impossible. The Kilo-class submarine tells a story written in Russian engineering and Iranian desperation. These boats weren't designed in Tehran. They were designed in St. Petersburg in 1980 and built at the Admiralty shipyard for export to nations who couldn't afford nuclear boats but still wanted to challenge superior navies. The Islamic Republic of Iran bought 3 kilos in the 1990s, the Tariq, the Noor, and the Yuns. Each one cost roughly $300 million. Diesel-electric propulsion, maximum submerged speed of 17 knots, diving depth of 240 meters, 6 533mm torpedo tubes, crew of 52 submariners operating in conditions that would make a sardine can feel spacious. The Kilo is quiet. That's its only meaningful advantage. When running on electric batteries, it produces minimal noise. Soviet designers called it the black hole because Western sonar had trouble detecting it during the Cold War. That was 1985. This is 2026. The definition of quiet has changed considerably when your adversary can detect thermal signatures in the ocean and map magnetic anomalies from diesel-electric submarines at 40 nautical miles. Here's what makes the Kilo fascinating in all the wrong ways. It carries 18 torpedoes or 24 mines. The primary weapon is the Test 71 MKE wake-homing torpedo. Russian design. Iranian maintenance. Maximum range of 15 kilometers at 40 knots. A 205-kilogram warhead that could theoretically crack a destroyer's hull. The torpedo uses passive acoustic homing in the terminal phase. It listens for the sound of a ship's propellers churning water and follows the noise to impact. The problem? American carrier groups don't have one acoustic signature. They have 17 destroyers, cruisers, supply ships, submarines, all generating overlapping noise signatures that create a sonic environment so complex that 1990s Soviet torpedo guidance systems can't distinguish between a legitimate target and electronic noise. It's like trying to identify a single violin in a symphony orchestra while standing outside the concert hall wearing earmuffs. But here's the thing about submariners trapped in aging boats with limited options. They don't calculate probability the way rational strategists do. They calculate based on orders, national pride, and the fact that nobody joins a submarine service expecting comfort or certainty. Iran's naval command wanted a demonstration. Their submarines would shadow the American carrier group, prove they could operate undetected in contested waters, maybe get close enough to simulate a firing solution. Propaganda value, immense. Strategic value, questionable. Risk, catastrophic. The Gulf of Oman isn't just water. It's one of the most surveilled maritime choke points on Earth. Every Western Navy monitors it continuously. Space-based radar satellites track surface vessels. Underwater sensor arrays listen for submarine signatures. P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft fly constant coverage with magnetic anomaly detectors and sonobuoys. The American carrier strike group operating in these waters doesn't rely on luck. It relies on a sensor network that makes stealth a comforting delusion and surprise a mathematical impossibility. When the Iranian submarines departed Bandar Abbas 72 hours earlier, American intelligence logged the activity before the first crew member descended the ladder. Satellite imagery captured the boats leaving port. Signals intelligence intercepted the deployment orders. A Los Angeles-class attack submarine operating in the area received tasking, shadow the Kilos, track their movements, report their positions. By the time the Iranian boats reached their intercept point, the USS Helena had been following them for 36 hours from a distance of 8 nautical miles. The Kilos never knew they were being hunted while they were hunting. 0342 and 23 seconds. The USS Princeton, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser sailing 15 nautical miles ahead of the Truman, detected the first submarine, not through sonar, through magnetic anomaly detection. The Kilo's diesel-electric motors and steel hull create a detectable distortion in Earth's magnetic field. Modern MAD systems can identify the distortion at ridiculous ranges when they know what they're looking for. And the Princeton's crew knew exactly what they were looking for because the Helena had been feeding them updated submarine positions every 20 minutes for the past day and a half. 3 submerged contacts, bearings 085, 092, and 098. Depth estimated 60 meters. Speed 4 knots. Classic Iranian patrol formation, 3 boats and a loose line abreast, attempting to create a barrier the carrier would sail through. The Aegis combat system aboard the Princeton classified the contacts in under 8 seconds. Kilo-class submarines. Iranian naval forces. Closing speed relative to carrier group 11 knots. Time to torpedo range 38 minutes. This is what 4 decades of anti-submarine warfare evolution looks like. Not louder sonar. Not bigger depth charges. Better information. Faster processing. The ability to track submarines that think they're invisible because they've gone quiet. The Iranian boats were running a playbook written in 1985. The American response was written in 2024. Inside the Princeton's Combat Information Center, the tactical action officer made the call. Launch the Romeo. An MH-60 or Seahawk helicopter lifted from the cruiser's deck. Twin General Electric turboshaft engines screaming. And /AQS-22 airborne low-frequency sonar mounted. Sonobuoys loaded in external dispensers. The mission was simple: prosecute the submarine contacts. Force them to the surface or retreat. Demonstrate that American anti-submarine warfare makes underwater stealth a temporary condition at best. The Seahawk climbed to 500 feet and turned toward the submarine positions. At 6 nautical miles from the first contact, the weapons officer dropped 3 sonobuoys in a triangular pattern. Active sonar. High-frequency pulses designed to bounce off submarine hulls and return precise bearing and range data. The sonar pinged. The Iranian Kilo lit up like a Christmas tree on the helicopter's acoustic display. Distance, 2 nautical miles. Depth, 58 meters. Course, 270 degrees. Speed, 8 knots. The Iranian submarine captain heard the sonar ping and knew his boat had been compromised. Textbook response: go deep, go quiet, evade. The Kilo dove to 180 meters and reduced speed to 2 knots. Electric motors only. Minimal noise signature. In 1985, this would have worked. The pursuing destroyer would lose contact. The submarine would slip away. But in 2026, with 3 sonobuoys maintaining continuous active sonar contact and a helicopter that can reposition faster than any submarine can maneuver, evasion becomes a matter of delaying the inevitable rather than achieving escape. The Seahawk dropped 3 more sonobuoys ahead of the submarine's projected course. Active sonar created an acoustic cage. Wherever the Kilo turned, sonar pulses found it. The submarine couldn't outrun a helicopter. It couldn't hide from continuous active sonar. It couldn't fight back. Firing a torpedo at an airborne helicopter isn't physically possible, and surfacing to engage with deck guns would be suicidal. The Iranian submarine surfaced, not because it wanted to, because remaining submerged while being continuously tracked by active sonar serves no tactical purpose except draining batteries and terrifying your crew. The Kilo broke surface 4,200 yards from the Princeton. Hatches opened. Crew appeared on deck. White flag visible on the conning tower. Not surrender. Just acknowledgement that the game was over and everybody involved knew it. The second Kilo surfaced 11 minutes later. Same scenario. Sonobuoys. Active sonar. Acoustic cage. No escape. The third submarine tried to run. Maximum speed on electric motors. 17 knots. The problem? The USS Helena had been shadowing from 8 miles and close to 4 miles while the Kilo accelerated. A Los Angeles-class attack submarine running on nuclear power can sustain 25 knots submerged indefinitely. The Iranian boat was sprinting. The American boat was jogging. The Helena sonar tracked the Kilo continuously. No weapons employment necessary. No torpedo launches. Just a nuclear-powered submarine following a diesel-electric boat until its batteries drained and physics forced the outcome. 0427. The third Iranian kilo surfaced. 3 submarines. 3 forced surfacing maneuvers. 0 shots fired. 0 American assets expended beyond helicopter fuel and sonobuoy batteries. But the humiliation wasn't finished. The USS Helena. Truman never deviated from course. Not a single degree of heading change. Not a single knot of speed adjustment. 100,000 tons of American naval power sailing through waters where 3 hostile submarines had attempted intercept as if the entire engagement was a training exercise barely worth logging in the official record. The carrier's own ASW systems never activated. The embarked submarine never fired. The response was handled by a single cruiser and 1 helicopter. Efficient, professional, utterly dismissive of the threat. Here's how submarine ambush tactics are supposed to work and why they failed spectacularly. The theory is simple: diesel-electric submarines are quiet. Quieter than nuclear boats when running on batteries. Deploy multiple boats in a patrol line. Wait for the target to approach. Get a firing solution. Launch torpedoes from close range before the enemy detects your position. Speed and stealth overcome superior technology. The problem is execution. Submarine ambush tactics work when the target doesn't know you're there and can't track you once detected. But modern American anti-submarine warfare doesn't rely on detecting submarines after they attack. It relies on tracking them before they deploy, monitoring them while they maneuver, and maintaining continuous contact through multiple sensor platforms that submarines can't evade because the ocean isn't actually empty and silent. It's full of thermal gradients, magnetic anomalies, and acoustic signatures that modern sensors exploit ruthlessly. Iran has operated Kilo-class submarines since the 1990s. They've trained crews extensively. They've studied American carrier group tactics. But the fundamental problem remains unsolved. Silence only matters if nobody's already watching. And American intelligence had been watching those submarines since before they left port. The cost analysis wrote itself. Iran deployed 3 submarines. Each boat burned roughly 1,200 liters of diesel and battery power for the 72-hour mission. Operational cost including crew wages, maintenance, and support vessels, roughly $400,000. 3 submarines surfaced and forced to retreat represents a complete mission failure with 0 return on investment. Add the intelligence value of exposing submarine deployment patterns and tactical doctrine. Add the propaganda disaster of 3 boats surfacing under duress. Total Iranian cost approaches $2 million when all factors included. The United States expended 1 MH-60 or helicopter sortie, roughly $45,000 in fuel and maintenance hours. 18 sonobuoys at $1,200 each, $21,600. Total American expenditure, roughly $67,000 in consumables. The submarines that tracked the kilos were already on station. The cruiser that detected them was already deployed. The carrier group continued its mission without deviation. Return on investment, complete neutralization of submarine threat without firing a shot. But the real cost wasn't financial. It was psychological. Every failed submarine intercept teaches potential adversaries that confronting American carrier groups with Cold War diesel boats is expensive theater that ends in humiliation. Every forced surfacing broadcasts a simple message: we see you before you see us. We track you continuously. You can't hide in our ocean. The 3 Iranian submarine crews returned to Bandar Abbas within 48 hours. No casualties, no damage. Just the professional knowledge that everything they'd been taught about submarine stealth had been systematically dismantled by an adversary operating in a different technological era. Word spreads fast in closed military communities. Those stories matter more than official briefings. The Helena Truman Strike Group continued southeast toward the Arabian Sea. Flight operations resumed that morning. The Air Wing conducted scheduled training missions. Crew served breakfast at normal hours. The submarine incident was logged, analyzed, and filed. Business as usual for a carrier group that handles complexity and threat before coffee service and calls it routine operations. Within 96 hours, Iranian state media released carefully edited footage showing brave Islamic Republic submarines operating in strategic waters near American carriers. Propaganda for domestic consumption. The operational logs told a different story. 3 submarines detected before reaching attack positions. 3 submarines forced to surface through sustained ASW pressure. 3 submarines retreating without achieving any tactical objective. 0 American course deviations. 0 American casualties. 0 American concern. This is modern deterrence in action. Not explosions. Not sinking. Just systematic demonstration that challenging a carrier strike group with 1990 submarines is like playing hide-and-seek with someone who has thermal cameras, motion sensors, and a detailed map of every hiding spot before the game starts. The ocean belongs to whoever controls the information, and the information belonged entirely to America. The Gulf of Oman remained tense but stable that week. No international crisis. No diplomatic incidents requiring explanation. Just 3 submarines sailing home with empty threat boards and full debriefs while the most powerful warship group ever assembled continued its patrol without breaking stride. Some lessons are taught with overwhelming force. This one was taught with overwhelming awareness. For Iran's submarine command, that quiet efficiency probably stung worse than any depth charge barrage ever could. They came looking to demonstrate capability. They got a masterclass in why submarine warfare against peer adversaries requires more than courage and Soviet-era equipment. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe for more untold stories of modern naval operations.